What up, everybody? Welcome to the first episode of the Winner's Circle podcast. I am Derrick Lavasser.
And I'm Cody Calafieri.
And a lot of you probably know us. We were in a little alliance called the Hitmen a few years ago, Big Brother 16. And we're coming to you now talking about Big Brother 23. For those of you who didn't see on IG tonight, Cody took over the BB Instagram and announced that we're going to be doing the show. This is something that we've been thinking about for a couple months. We've talked about it in previous years. And the interesting thing is, and Cody can attest to this, ever since BB 16, we've always talked about Big Brother like off the record to ourselves. And we talked a little bit, I think, before you went on Big Brother 22.
Just I wouldn't say a lot, but it was just enough. You know what I mean? Just enough.
I heard a rumor that you and I pre-gamed before you went on.
Well, you know what? I think people were expecting you and me to not talk at all.
Yeah.
So it was almost like, wait, you talked to Derrick? Oh, you guys must have been pre-gaming. No, like I talk to Derrick on a daily basis.
Yeah.
This is how it's going to go. I'm going on Big Brother. I'm going to talk to my big brother of Big Brother.
Yeah, no, we talked a little. And again, for those of you who don't know, let's not assume everyone knows. Cody and I were on Big Brother 16 together. We went all the way to the final two. Cody was nice enough to honor our agreement, our relationship.
From day two.
From day two, took me to the final two, and I was fortunate enough to win. But karma came on strong because Cody came back, All-Stars edition, BB22, and took home the W.
Yeah, it was, I say it all the time, dude. Playing the second time without you, I literally had so much of you in that game anyway because, like, I played the entire first game with you. It was so incredible to just make decisions based off of stuff that had occurred on 16 and, like, how you and I talked through it because at the end of the day, I didn't have like somebody methodical, somebody that, like, calculated every single decision.
Whoa. Enzo's pretty fucking cheap. Let's go easy.
But Enzo's the man. I love Enzo.
Enzo is the man. Love Enzo.
I love Enzo. Never going to say, but Enzo, his brain doesn't work like a computer. And neither does mine. And so that's something that you did very well that not a lot of people do. That when you're doing it on your own, it became very stressful. And that's why you saw for me, the first time I came out of there with a gut. The second time I came out of there losing 10 pounds.
It's definitely, when you're on 24/7, it's definitely hard. But overall, it worked out well. You know, we've played a total of 2 seasons together, 1 season together, 1 season alone. So if you think about it, we've made 3 attempts at the game. We've took home the W twice, won over $1 million in prizes. So it hasn't been a bad run for us. And that's kind of why we want to do this. Like, we know there's some great podcasts out there. We're not in competition with them. We do think we bring a little bit different of a perspective. I know that for recent winners, people who have been successful in the game, there's not a lot of that out there. We wanted to give you our perspective, our insight on it. By no means are we experts. I don't think anyone can be an expert of reality Big Brother. But I do think when it comes to understanding how to increase your chances of going far in the game, I think it's safe to say we have a pretty good handle on that, right?
Yeah, and the good thing is that we're not giving perspective from just outside viewing because we understand how so many people that play the game, they come out of the house and people are like, well, why did you make this decision? Why would you do this when it was so clear that this was happening? And to people on the outside, that's what it seems like. But to people that literally went through it, there's so much going on that we don't know that everybody on the outside has access to. And so we just make decisions based off of what's in front of us and what to us looks like the best decision. And the good thing is you and I did that pretty well when we played the game. So that's why I think it's going to be cool that we can bring that perspective to people on top of all the other stuff that's out there.
Right, absolutely. And we don't know how many guests we're going to have. We may have a couple people on. The plan is each week to kind of do a recap of the week. We're gonna record these episodes after the live eviction on Thursdays. So we'll watch the episodes on Thursdays. Obviously, we'll be watching the feeds. We'll be watching, the other episodes, but we're not going to record every episode. There's plenty of people out there that do a great job at it. But we're going to record after the Thursday episode because that's kind of a cap for that week before we start the new week. So we'll kind of go over what happened that week as it relates to gameplay, drama, relationships, as far as going forward in the game. We'll talk about cast members, and we'll talk about who we feel is in the best position to win at that point.
And the craziest thing about Big Brother is it changes every single week because somebody could win something and that could be somebody playing the game so well. As you and I knew so many times each week, there was always that person that if they won, it could have went a really wrong way for the both of us on 16 and on All-Stars. So it's really exciting. I think it'll be cool that how we can bring that perspective to it as two guys that have played.
No, this is going to be fun. And for anyone who's watching this on YouTube, there's going to be an audio version. It'll probably come out first. And for anyone who's listening to this on, wherever you get your podcasts, you can also subscribe to our YouTube channel. It's all going to be the Winner's Circle. You can check it out. And we'll put links to it in our descriptions and all that good stuff, so it's easy for you guys to find. But we appreciate your support. Cody and I talk about it all the time. He was just on recently, so, as far as relevancy, he's there. But even when I posted something today about Big Brother. I haven't posted about Big Brother in a while. The support that even I still get after not being on for the last 7 years.
Yeah.
It's incredible, and it doesn't go unnoticed, and it's still crazy to me after I'm 37 now. It's still crazy to me that I got this experience, and not only did I get this amazing experience, but that people appreciated it even after all this time. So trust me, we really do appreciate your love and your support. It means a lot to us.
Yeah, absolutely, yes.
So let's dive into it. This episode's going to be a little different because, again, there wasn't a full week of strategy and backstabbing and all that good stuff, but we did get a 90-minute episode, so we're going to go over the cast because that's what they did tonight. We'll go over the competitions, but before we do, I got to kind of go out of order here a little bit and kind of break the news here for anyone who doesn't know. I think the biggest news of the episode from a former house guest, a former winner, and then you as a former winner, not only a former winner, but the winner of last season. You just won.
Yeah.
How do you feel? Big Brother,
I already know where you're
winner,
going.
Cody.
I already know where you're going.
This is the big. Was this not the biggest? Dude, $750,000 to the winner of Big Brother 23. Cody, what are your initial thoughts?
It hurt so bad, and
stinks.
I don't know what went into that decision where they were just finally like, you know what, we're gonna bring back a lot of returners. We're gonna make it an all-star season. And, whether or not people, because there's a lot of naysayers out there that is like, oh, all-stars, not all-stars, whatever.
It was an all-star.
It was an all-star season, and we had the label, and they're handing $250K to the next season. I'm like, Big Brother. I mean, I'm very grateful. I'm very thankful.
Yes.
I'm very thankful. But we all have that little greedy edge. We all have it.
Think about taxes and how much more that would have helped. Right?
I was devastated. When she said it, I was like, all I was thinking, though, I will say this. I was like, please don't say a mil. Please don't say a mil. Do not say that.
But, I mean, 750 is still good. I do think in their defense, because I was part of the whole, dating process as far as, are you available for Big Brother 22?
They asked you on a date?
They might have called me once or twice and said,
they
hey,
did?
What are you doing for the next 3 months? Maybe.
But you had plans for dinner and then.
Yes. Yep. I had to cut my lawn, the normal stuff. But I know that there was some people who were paid decent amount of money to go on the show. And so when you add that up over 16 house guests, that probably equated to way more than $250,000 or a little bit more than that. Yeah.
That's fair.
So I think that they were definitely in over $1 million with the payments going out to.
Yeah, that's a good point. You think about the money that was won, like Christmas won money in the first week. David won. Then Nicole won $10,000 in that comic thing. So there was a lot of money that was kind of getting thrown around in the All-Star season.
A lot of guaranteed money. But to your point, it doesn't make it hurt any less. I wasn't as bothered by it because it was 7 years ago for me, and I was lucky enough to win a couple extra comps. You might have remembered that, Team America. You might.
We'll just that's fine because I ended up going home with the third amount of prize money thanks to that whole fun Team America aspect.
And you remind me of it all the time.
It's so funny. I think it's hilarious. I essentially got third.
You essentially, money wise you did. That sucks. Sorry.
Yeah, thank you.
Hey, I don't feel bad for you. You just won $500,000. I mean, you're doing all right.
You're right.
But yeah,
be grateful. I got to be grateful.
Yes, but I do think for you, even if it weren't you, even if you weren't my boy, I would be saying, wow, whoever won BB22 right before it, that's a tough one. That's a tough pill to swallow.
Yeah, no.
So I was thinking of you.
It was. I got to be honest with you. It was really difficult for me to lock in to a lot of different things that was coming. I was like, come on, just hit us with the amount of money because I was fixated on finding out how much money extra could have been. But then it's like I don't know. Does the game change? I don't know. I don't know.
I think $500,000 is a life-changing amount of money, and 750 is the same thing. I don't think it changes them as much. They're all $500,000 for most people is like life-changing money.
It is,
and so
it really is. To be honest,
it's hard to fathom.
It doesn't make you have to stop work, but it certainly puts you in a much different
good position.
Situation. Yeah.
Yep. Good foundation. And 750 is definitely the great thing about 750 is now you really are going to walk home with $500,000. You know, because with taxes you don't walk home anything near to 500,000. Really, and so now with taxes you're going to walk home with over $500,000 easily.
Well, I'll tell you what, if I remember correctly, I don't know if you, but doesn't over 700 put you into a different tax bracket in California?
Ooh. Now we're talking like big boy number. I don't even know.
It's either 7 or 8. It might be 8, so they may still be just shy underneath it. But I know that. That was something. When I was looking and I was like, wait a minute, because California takes a ton of it.
Yeah, they're getting double hit anyways. Yeah. They're going to get double hit anyways. You felt that this year. We won't get into the specifics, but I kind of was walking through you with that, and you got to learn how that feels.
Yeah, it's a punch to the gut.
It's not fun. You bought someone a house, the federal government a house for sure.
Yeah.
But no, listen. Congrats to the house guests. You know what? Big Brother definitely has the money, so it should be going in their pockets. And I'm glad to see it happen because that just means for future house guests and maybe future returning house guests that it's never going to go back down at this point. Now they've kind of set the standard. It's only going to go up from here. And I'm glad to see, you got Survivor making $1 million.
Right.
This was one of the biggest complaints from the Big Brother community, especially returning players. This is more incentive for, people to go out and apply for the show because, again, as we said, every dollar counts, but you add another $250,000 on top of it. That just increases the ability to be comfortable after going on a show like this.
Yeah, and the show, I will say to anybody that is listening, it takes a huge toll on you mentally. It is a very mentally tolling show, and it is really tough for a lot of people that come off of the show to really get back into the swing of things, like in their real life, and not be caught up in just like not playing a game anymore. And actually, because there's also a part of the show where your responsibilities are gone. Like you wake up every day and your only job is to play Big Brother now. Does that mean everything on the outside goes away? No, you still remember, but your responsibilities are not there in the same sense as when you're home and you're not on the show. So it's crazy because getting back home after 3 months, it's really tough. I know a lot of people have a hard time with it, and I know Big Brother
you're probably
does
still
a lot.
adjusting.
Yeah, Big Brother does a lot to help their cast, which I think is awesome.
No, they've been great, and I was seeing a couple of interviews from Julie. She was talking about previous house guests. She brought us up a couple times. A lot of the former the new house guests brought you and I up. Again, it's just awesome. We're all part of a family, and these people, just like everyone on it, for anyone who cares what we think, not that we're perfect, show these people some love. It's tough in there. Like Cody just said, it's really hard, and I would hope one day, I don't have a lot of hope for this, I'm not that naive, but I'm hoping one day we get back to what it was like right around the earlier stages of Big Brother, even 16, where it's more about rooting for your favorite and not rooting against your least favorite. Yeah. I really want to see it get to that point because I do think that does take away from the community and people wanting to be involved with it because it can get pretty hostile.
Yeah, very, very hostile. So that I agree with you 100%. All right.
You want to dive into the cast?
Let's jump into it. Let's
do it. So we're going to go through it. Shout out. We're going to go through quick bios. We know there's a ton of people out there, a ton of different platforms where you can go get a full cast breakdown. A lot of them are on it. They've already done it. Yeah. So we're just going to give you a quick hit on each one because you got introduced to them tonight for the first time. So we will go right into it. We will start in no particular order here.
First impression, we saw them in the house.
Yep. What do you think? What do you think? So first one, Alyssa Lopez, 24 years old from Sarasota, Florida. She's a swimwear designer. What do you think about Alyssa?
So just going off of what she said, one, she's going to be strong-willed. I mean, she has her own business. So she became independent very early. So with that comes, you grow up. So when you can rely on yourself and you're out on your own, I think that brings you don't want to hear or take crap from other people. And she said that in her intro video, and she was like, I've had a hard time keeping my mouth shut. And so she could be a fiery one, may be something that hurts her. That was just my initial impression, but she seems like she's trying to be social, which is a huge aspect of the game. And so I think she does have some potential, but if she can't keep her mouth in check, that's never a good thing in Big Brother.
No, I think the other thing too to take away from it is like she was saying herself, like she has trouble putting on like a fake smile, and that's probably indicative of like experiences she's had where she's got called out or had that resting bitch face and been, she wears her emotions on her face, and as you know, that's not a great thing when you're trying to manipulate people and convince them that you're on their team when really you plan on voting them out.
Right, or just in a situation where somebody is talking to you and you just found out that they were having a conversation with somebody else about how they're not really connecting with you, or maybe they're trying to target you, or maybe they're just talking in the slightest bit that rubs you the wrong way, and then you have that face on when they come to you. People are, their senses are heightened in the Big Brother house, and if you can't really erase it from your face,
they're looking for you.
They're like, hold on, wait a minute, wait, is something wrong? Like, wait, and then all of a sudden that snowballs into, I think I need to win HOH because now I'm going to have to put them on the block.
She's coming after me. I know it. She's coming after me. I can tell by her face.
Yeah.
She's coming after me.
I
mean, agree.
You grab at anything you can in the Big Brother house. And so I hope, because, I'd like to see anybody that is like independent like that and strong-willed succeed, but I hope she can dial that back.
Yeah, she's going to need to for sure. You got to definitely check your ego at the door and kind of, go outside yourself a little bit if you want to go far.
That was one of the biggest things you said to me.
Yeah, you got it. You got it, dude. You got to do it, man.
Your emotions have got to be gone. Your emotions have to be out of the game. It has to be strictly business, and it has to be playing strategically in every decision that you make.
Can't make it personal. It was hard, even with you when I got so close with you. But even through the whole season, as much as I loved you, never told you I was a cop because I knew it wouldn't help me as on a game level.
Right.
So it wasn't that I didn't trust you. Trusted you with my game.
Right.
But I just was like, if it doesn't benefit me in this house, then I'm not doing it. Anything outside, I'll tell him everything he wants to know. Same thing with Victoria. Same thing with Caleb. I trusted Caleb completely, but it was just one of those things where we weren't going to go there. Next up, we have Azza. And if I say any of these names wrong, I apologize. The first time, meeting them, but I'll get it. So Azza's she's 30 years old. She's from Baltimore, Maryland. She's a director of sales operations. I really like Azza. I like her backstory. What was she saying? She's like one of like 65 kids, and then like
she's like royal. Like she comes from like a pretty.
Which say was it Cameroon?
Yeah, something like that. And
dude, 300 cousins or something like that.
Yeah, because her grandfather had like 6 wives.
Yeah, dude. I mean, it's crazy. But I love the background. So different.
Yeah, it's cool. And that's something that they were trying to get into with this cast, a little more diverse and people from a lot of different backgrounds. And I think they did that with her. I think she's going to be fun. She has a really cute, fun personality. And I think she's a genuine person. So someone like that comes across very genuine, always can do well right off the bat because she's going to be likable, I think.
Yeah, and something I saw in her bio, she's been to over 26 countries and counting, and that means she's very cultured. She's experienced different types of people, different types of personalities, different types of ways of living, and it's allowed her to become more adaptable, right? So being in a house with 15 other people who are all from different backgrounds, it makes her more pliable. It makes her able to blend in with other people that may not necessarily be like her, and that is a huge attribute in Big Brother.
Yeah, very important. I think she's a good one.
I agree. She's one to watch for sure. Next up, a fellow Rhode Islander, Brent. Brent, 28 years old from Cranston, Rhode Island. He's a flight attendant. Shout out to him. There was
Champagne.
There was some. He's an Italiano too. He's one of you, right? He's one of your guys.
I mean,
he knew like 4 words in Italian.
He said lasagna. I was like, I'm like. I mean, I read his bio on he's going to be a guy. I wouldn't be surprised if I see him in a showmance by the end of the first week.
Oh, for sure.
I wouldn't be surprised in the slightest bit.
Yeah, he's a flirt.
He's a big-time flirt. He's been told by a lot of different people that his personality is contagious, which...
And again, a flight attendant, they have to be personable. They're in the hospitality field. That's what they do. Yeah,
so I think he's going to be... I don't know. We'll see. We'll see with Brent.
Yeah.
He didn't come out immediately as like the guy that I think could be like an incredible strategic player, but I'm not going to judge any book by its cover, and so I think he'll be a good personality.
I think he'll be a good personality. He kind of reminds me of like, and I know this is like stereotyping, but he reminds me of like a Tommy Bracco a little bit from New York. He's got that like fun personality. And I think he even said like he's a gymnast or something like that too.
I mean, he was doing all the flips and stuff. He did like the one-handed cartwheel, then jump from his back. That kind of stuff when you're doing all that and you're like, I'm like, what is going on here? He was literally catching a football half a second ago, and now he's like doing dance moves and stuff, and then he's like jumping out. I was like, there was a lot going on. Lots to take.
Yeah. And for the record, I do not know him. So before that rumor gets out there that he's from Rhode Island, Derrick must have pre-gamed with him.
Wait, Derrick,
I do not know Brent.
You didn't set up every alliance in the house for him?
Nope. Or did I?
Well,
or did I?
We will find, because if he goes far and wins, you did. If he
as soon as they mention me in the house, they'll just be like, Derrick's one of my favorite players. Oh, he knows Derrick. He knows him. I knew it.
They talked before the game.
They talked before the game. Next up, we have Brittany D'Angelo. She's 24 years old from Niagara Falls, New York. She's a kindergarten teacher. This woman had a lot of karate, very smart girl. I'll tell you this.
Judy chopping like crazy.
Yeah. You know, what stood out to me with her, I think she's going to be a very strong personality. She's got a lot to prove. She says she has that chip on her shoulder. She came out and admitted she was diagnosed with autism at a very young age. And so you can tell she just always felt like, I got to prove myself.
Right.
You know? And that's great, like a great story. But even in the competition, something I noticed, and these are little micro expressions I pick up on, she was like making noises and like, you know, yelling out loud when she was trying to put the pieces in. And it's like, you got to tone that down because, like you said, people are always looking for the person who kind of rises to the top as someone, especially in the beginning when you don't have much to go on. You're just looking for someone who always has an opinion or is outspoken or a strong personality.
In that first week, you have to find the right balance of not being over the top, not being the high insane personality. We saw, what was his name from 17? It started with a J. A Jace. Remember Jace?
Yep.
Jace was like that, and he just wanted to be like everybody's friend. He was high energy, and like they were like, this is a lot. And he ended up on the block and gone in the first week. Joey on our season, same kind of a thing on 16. And so, but you got to find a balance because you also can't be the person that's always sitting back. And like,
you got it's a happy medium. But they are looking for something, and that personality, when you're in the house with them 24/7, the little things that are funny in the first hour, it wears off within a couple days, and you're like, I'm over it. I'm over this. But does she have the tools, the attributes to win the game?
Yeah.
Absolutely. Who are we to say she doesn't? She's definitely got some skills, and if worst case scenario, she'd just split someone's head open with a kick to the jaw.
Yeah.
So that'd be funny to watch.
And just everybody that's listening, make sure you understand, like, we're not saying anything. We're just talking from our perspectives on stuff that
just
stands
initial
out.
Impressions.
Just stuff that stands out and could be something that either is a benefit or rubs somebody the wrong way. In this first week, we're telling you right now, it is crazy how the smallest things, like, I know when I made that decision in the first week, I was like, it was Keisha. I haven't talked to Keisha at all. Sorry, you're going on the block. And it could be, every time I'm talking, that person's interrupting me. I'm like, you know what? That's bothering me. And then
that's my reason.
It's crazy.
Which brings us to our next person, because if I understand correctly, maybe I'm the wrong one. Christian, things do change, because I don't think Christian, from what I've heard on the BB rumors, was part of the original cast.
I thought it was
like
Claire.
an alter. No, Claire's definitely one, because we heard about the girl. I can't remember her name. I apologize, but Christy got taken off.
Christy was mad about that. She was obsessed with her.
No, yeah, she looks great. I posted on it too. But from what I heard, and this is the rumor mill, there was a guy by the name of Garrett. He was actually his headshot was on the cast photos list, and last minute they switched him with, I believe it was Christian. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong. But I like Christian. He's from Harwinton, Connecticut. He's a general contractor's assistant. I liked him. I thought he was pretty cool. I didn't have a feeling about him either way, which is what, to your point, a good thing.
Yeah, I think he's gonna be likable. He doesn't have this like crazy in your face kind of personality, but I think he's also not going to be doing anything to stand out in the first week to make people be like, you got to go on the block. Now, this whole team aspect, which some will get into later, could cause a lot of different things to happen.
Oh yeah,
I think I didn't have any strong or any, like, you know, I was like, okay, all right.
He's there.
Yeah.
And that's not a bad place to be when you first start. You don't want to be at the top, and you don't want to be at the bottom.
Right.
Next up, who definitely was a late addition to this cast, but I'm going to tell you right now, she's going to be a problem for a lot of people, is Claire. She's from Ohio. She currently lives in New York, and she's an AI engineer.
Yeah.
It's no doubt watching it. One, she's a super fan. 2, she's a genius.
Did you see how fast she did that?
Yeah, no, she's a problem.
Out, so I was like, going into that competition, I was like, I love those kind of comps because I'm really attention to detail. I love like laying everything out, and I play calm and like I stay collected. I don't think there was anybody that was going to beat her if she did that against 16 other people. She went through it in a second. I was sitting there with Christian. I was like, oh my god, she finished that.
Yeah, no, she's a beast. She's a beast. She's a problem. Which could be her downfall, because what you find with athletes and smart people, right? They always say, I'm going to throw. But when you get in there and you're in the heat of battle, your ego comes in and you're like, I'm smarter than these people. I got to beat them. And you just, the competition side of you takes over, and it's really hard to throw something when you know you can beat them. So I hope she takes some of the advice she said from past seasons, and she has to, play it down a little bit, at least initially, because again, if she goes on a tear where, even though she didn't ultimately, and we don't want to spoil it, but she won the initial part, but not the second part, people have her on notice now. They saw how quick she did it, and they're going to be, and the people in her group are going to talk about that.
And also, I'm pretty sure she was the last group, so every other house guest was up on the balcony watching. Correct?
That's true. That's right. They were all in there. Well, so the second group was, we're getting into it. It was Frankie. It was Frenchie. Then it was Whitney. And then it was Christian. And then it was Claire. You're right. So every other person in that house got to see her work.
Yeah.
And they know how fast it took them.
Yeah. And they know, and the ones that's going to get it done saw why they were struggling. And she, I don't even think they had a chance to show her, because I think she just came out. They like clipped, and then she was done.
No, you could tell the way her mind works. She's gonna be a problem.
I will say one thing about Claire that could be an issue, and it happens a lot. And this is nothing against. So like don't come chirping at me. She goes with the all girl alliance thing. You got to have a good balance when you're going in there. You're like, I want to be an all girl alliance, and I want to go after these guys. That falls apart. We've seen it on so many seasons. It falls apart in an instant. It
does. Yeah.
And
maybe this will be the first, but historically speaking, it's not a high likelihood.
You need to have a good balance, and you need to. It's like when you have that in your head, it's something that ultimately can cause like a demise to your game, because you'll force certain things that maybe don't seem natural. And in Big Brother, you want to keep everything as natural as possible.
Yeah,
because it's a hard enough game as it is.
We will see. My initial impression is Claire is going to go deep into this game. Her being as good at the game as I think she might be may come down to be a hindrance if she's so much above everybody else. But time will tell. We'll see how she's able to control the game without everyone else knowing she's controlling it. But she has a plan. She has the tools to back it up. It'll be interesting to see her go.
Yeah.
Next one, super interesting cat. I mean, I did not know this about him, but his name's Derrick Frazier. He's from Philadelphia, Pennsylvania.
Oh, yeah.
And he is the son. Is it the son of Joe Frazier?
Son. That's his father.
I mean, that's a grab. I mean, that's a. I mean, again, if you're not a sporting guy, maybe not. But for those of you who don't know, Joe Frazier's a badass.
Yeah,
he's a badass.
He's a big time boxer. He's
kind of a big deal.
Yeah.
It's kind of a big deal. And this is his son.
And it's just, I think a lot of that. This kid went to a military boarding high school. I say this kid like he's a grown man. Like this.
Yeah, 29 years old. 29 years old.
This man was in military high school, so he's gonna have that. I want to win. I'm a winner. Like he definitely doesn't have a loser.
It's in his DNA.
It's there. I also saw a little a thing about him, about his like how much weight he lifts, and him going up the stairs. Like I went to school in Philly, those steps. He was agile. He's moving up.
Yep.
Like don't let the stature, because this dude lifts heavy weights. He looks like he's quick on his feet. So there's not going to be a competition. And if he's smart, he's gonna do well in competitions. And I loved his answers. Every single answer was fun and it was playful. And he's gonna be
everybody's friend. He's gonna be everybody's friend.
That's a great thing. That's a great thing. He's gonna be
a dangerous
person. He's a dangerous person.
I see him going far. And again, another person who's been around the world, met a lot of people, knows how to blend in. His dad's a legit famous person, and I don't know if he's going to tell I'm sure he'll tell him. Maybe not.
I have a thing about this, and it goes into the whole: do you tell people, profession? Do you tell, like Frankie had to? Do you tell people about Ariana?
Yep.
Like, do you tell people, because does that skew them in a sense where, Joe Frazier, he's got to be coming from money, like, and it doesn't always correlate like that. Like, not every dad is always like, oh yeah, this kid, like he's become. I'm eager to see what his job is, because I was one of them. when I
it says
saw
he's a
John-
safety. It just says he's a safety officer. I don't know.
He said he
what that
couldn't
is.
wait to tell everybody about that. I'm excited to hear what that is because I didn't know what it was.
Yeah,
but
safety officer.
But that kind of makes me go to, I don't know. I think he's going to be good. I think he's going to be very well liked by everyone. He's going to have everyone's ear for sure, and he's going to have a lot of secrets on everyone else. Next person, not to go too far from Derrick F. Great name, by the way. Great name. Let's go to Derrick X. Right? I'm not going to try to say his last name. Derrick X is from Baltimore, Maryland, New York. He's a startup founder. Very, very smart dude. My initial impression is not much, which again kind of goes back to Christian. Yeah.
I saw him. I know his name.
Yeah.
He's on the show. He doesn't look like a dummy,
Yeah.
but he also didn't stand out as like an alpha male, which is
Right.
exactly
That's
where
a
you
good thing.
want to be on
100%.
night one.
I actually, he was one of the ones initially that I was like, this guy's, he just seems genuine. He seems likable to me. He seemed a little more like Christian. I just saw him and I was like, so like, I don't have that same feel. But Derrick, I was like, you know what? He to me seems likable. I think he's going to be somebody that is easy. Like people are going to want to be friends with him. He's going to want to make you laugh. He said that in one of the interviews that I read. And so I could see him being a really likable person. Now, how that correlates into the game, you need strategy.
You got to see.
And
see how the teams are going to, like you said earlier, the teams, we don't know yet how much of an impact that's going to have, but that could really derail a lot of people's initial strategies.
Oh man, totally. Because we'll get into that after we get to the cast.
Absolutely. Next up, Brandon Frenchie French, 34 years old from Camden, Tennessee. He's a farmer. Kind of remind me of Donnie, right? He's that type cast. He's a Donnie. I like Frenchie a lot. I think he's going to be a good player. He's a super fan. He won 2 comps tonight, which I don't love. But then again, I was mad at you when you won the first HOH. But if you hadn't, you probably would have went home. So Frenchie, being in the situation he was in tonight, he went for it. He's guaranteed himself at least a week to kind of ingratiate himself in this cast, which is important because this is the most pivotal week of the whole season. This is where they start to figure out who's who and who you're going to roll with. So I like Frenchie. One little side note about Frenchie. I won't get into all the details. It was nothing bad, nothing crazy, but Frenchie slid into my DMs.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, Frenchie slid in my DMs. I was looking back at it. He slid in my DMs because I remember the name.
He's a big person in the Big Brother community. Huge.
He is.
Huge.
He is. He's friends with Chris Catalano, who's not a casting director anymore. Yeah, he's not a casting director anymore, so there's no tie there before you guys say you got casted. Chris Catalano does not cast for the show anymore. Chris casted you and I,
right?
But he tried to get on the show for many years when Chris was casting, and he just reached out to me in the DMs. It was like, hey, love what fan. Chris almost tried to get me on, and that happens a lot. Trust me, he's not the only one. A lot of former people that were not on the show, they get on, and I see that I talked to them 2 years ago on Instagram or Twitter. So obviously, I like Frenchie. I think he's there for the right reasons. He's a dad. He's trying to make a better life for his family. Kind of sounds like somebody I know. So how do I not root for the dad? I'm in the dad squad.
Yeah,
all day long.
I like that. I respect it. I like Frenchie. The thing is there's a lot of different things that now have been coming from winning that first HOH. And I think it really helps you solidify relationships and conversations coming to you versus you having to be the aggressor and making those conversations which sometimes as the HOH could be a little disingenuous. So you find people like, I know you think you have to talk to me because that's a game of Big Brother, but I'm not buying the conversation.
Right, but he's going to get so much intel this week,
but he's
man.
going to get a lot of people. And it's a good way.
He's gonna get so much.
It's a good way to protect himself because he is also a team captain. And it's like he can link himself up with the other captains. He can link himself up with teams because if he keeps a team safe, it's a really good position to be in if you use it the right way. You have to use it the right way. You can't just go in and be like, I'm going to win a comp. Like, winning the first competition on All-Stars, I wasn't initially going in. Like, I didn't want to initially win the first competition. I was like,
Right. I remember we talked about it.
Very important. The social game and building the relationships is very important. And then I took a look around at an all-star cast, and I was like, I won the first competition, which, you're just in the moment. And then the second competition was really the one where I was like, do I really want to win this? This is one where I was like, I think I can maybe figure out if I want to throw this. And I looked at the other people, and I was like, one of these people are going to be the HOH. I don't know how they either felt about me on 16 or I don't know anything about them really other than Ian, who I had known what he was on his season. So I was like,
right.
I'm winning this HOH. I'm going for this HOH. It would make me feel a lot better, and I'll let the conversations come to me, and I'll dial down the whole aspect of, yeah, listen, you won the competition. You're such a beast. And I was like, anybody could have really won it. I just, I was able to try to at least dial it down a little bit. So I think you can win that first comp and do well
get away with it.
Or you win it and it could be something where everybody thinks you're a huge threat, and it's not
we'll see. It's up to him now. Ball's in his court. Next up, we have Hannah, 21 years old, Chicago, Illinois. She's a grad student.
Hannah.
I really like Hannah.
Oh, my
really
goodness.
like Hannah. Really like Hannah. Super smart. You tell she's articulate, knows the game. I don't know if she's a super fan or not, but she's someone who probably did her research. That's kind of what she does.
Yeah.
And I think she kind of falls in line with me as far as like a Christian, a Derrick X, where I don't know too much about her. She didn't stand out to me, but I also did see her. She wasn't invisible to me, but she wasn't someone who was, on the top of my radar or won a competition. So she could be someone who gets right in the middle. Again, this is all subject to change. We could watch the feeds this week and go, oh my God, Hannah's pissing everybody off. But just initial impressions, that's all we're doing tonight, guys.
Yeah.
I like Hannah. I think she's got some attributes for her.
I think she's got great attributes. My only thing about her, she seems like she's got one of those strong personalities. Like, if you say something and I don't agree with it, I can't just sit on it. I'm going to say something. And I feel like that comes with someone that is extremely intelligent, and somebody that's extremely intelligent to the level that she is. She graduated university at 19 years old. I made a joke about it, but it wasn't too far off. Like, I was like, what am I majoring in? This girl graduated college, is getting her master's, and she's extremely intelligent. And I think when you have that like strong like will, you're very intelligent. Sometimes it'll cause you to always want to step up and like talk about something because you have a lot of knowledge on it. Could be something that she has to dial
Could come back to bite her.
But I do know I like her a lot because I think she gave an answer about like what's your strategy, and I loved her answer. It was about forming relationships. When people win HOH, I'm not going to try to impose my will on people that win the HOH, but maybe steer them in and say subtle things. Like she was somebody that I felt understood the game, but it's about executing it. Anybody could give the right answer without executing, and it also changes. Once the big brother air gets in your lungs, stuff changes quick.
Oh yeah, you become a different person.
Yeah, dude.
No,
crazy.
she's got the skill set. We got to see how she integrates herself with the other house guests. Next up, we have Kylan Young. I love Kylan.
Yeah.
Really good looking dude.
Likeable.
Super smart. Got that smile. I'm looking at his smile right now, and I just want to be his friend. He's from San Bernardino County, California. Currently lives in Venice Beach. Yeah. He's account executive. Again, someone with an interesting background. Has a lot of things going for him. Seems like he's got a pretty good head on his shoulders. Not too much the alpha male. Just kind of, I think he's going to be everyone's bro. Kind of reminds me a little bit of you, right? Like he's got girls want to date him, guys want to be him, but he seems like he's a humble dude. So we'll see if that initial impression from me is right. But I like Kylan. Again, another guy, big potential.
Yeah, really likable, really good guy. Another one that just I like the energy that he has about him. Like he's not going to be somebody that has something happen and then is like, well, I'm like super frustrated. He just kind of like rolls with it. He's very grateful for the experience. And I can relate to that because that's how I was going into it the first time. I just was really grateful for the experience. And that's why you saw a lot of the way, like how I was socially. It was just because like every day was a blessing to me. And I feel like he has that same air. And someone like that doesn't really tend to rub people the wrong way, as I really wasn't the first time. And then if he can find somebody like how you and I found each other that has that like cutthroat logic to kind of guide it, I think he could be somebody that does really well as well.
Yep, agreed. Next up, we have Sarah. Sarah is 27 years old from Boiling Springs, South Carolina. She currently lives in Fort Myers, Florida. She's a forensic scientist. Yeah. Sarah's good. She seems like she could be someone
like Dexter. All right, no, come on.
I don't know. I didn't get a lot on her, so I didn't get a great read on her either way. She put out there she has a girlfriend of like 3 years. So she's
her strategy
coming
was going
from
to be
a
a
relationship.
floater.
Yeah, it seems like and it does seem like that's going to be her plan going in there. You could tell when there was the competition tonight, she was not picked twice, I believe. Like they picked the person next to her 2 different times.
Yeah, she was the last.
So I don't know. I don't know how that goes. Floating does win does win these games sometimes. So it does seem like she's going to be someone who gets into the background and just kind of lets other people do her dirty work for her. We'll see.
I don't know about do her dirty work for her. I think like they'll just do dirty
go
work
with
and just
she'll go with the grain.
Yeah, she'll just kind of go with it.
Yeah.
That's what I could see her being. And hey, listen, people get far in the game. I just don't know that there's really that like to it.
That drive.
That drive.
Yeah.
So we'll see.
She could be someone that is taken out early because she's not in with anybody. We'll see. Next up, we have Tiffany, 40 years old, Detroit, Michigan. She's a phlebotomist. I can't believe I said that word right in the first try.
Incredible, bro. I got to just give him props.
I got my big ass teeth in the front. I still got it out. I'm impressed. So I really like her as well. Single mom. Someone, Detroit, Michigan. Let's be honest. It's a tough place to grow up, and but I like her. She has an attitude. You can tell. I love her hair. She's someone I think that's going to go in there, and she's gonna be who she is, right?
Yeah.
She's not gonna. What you see is what you get with her.
Single
and if
mom,
you don't like her,
she's 40, even though she doesn't look 40.
Yeah. And her son's in his teens.
Yeah, like
she's raising a man.
Yeah, she's gonna be. She is who she is. And I like that because I also think that she was really likable. The way that she was, her personality, she just was a likable person. So
yep, I agree.
I
like her.
That's never a bad thing.
She could do well. She could do well. She's gonna do. She just has to find her groove, and she has to understand that although she might be able to take all these people, she's got to kind of sit back, relax, let these guys kind of step on themselves, and at the end, slit their throats. Do what you got to do. Next up, Travis, 22 years old, Austin, Texas, currently living in Honolulu, Hawaii.
What do you mean?
Tech sales consultant. He's a bro. He's a bro.
Yeah.
He's a bro, dude.
No.
But
See, that's not what he is. He's not a bro. Like he's like a Brett bro. Like he's like a bro. Like I would chill with
Brett.
This
is
guy.
fucking smart. Brett is smart.
So Brett
is a smart dude.
Super intelligent. But
super intelligent.
But Brett
You're
didn't
right.
want to tell anybody he was super intelligent. Like this guy, I read something about him. He was being sued by like the big wigs at tech because, dude, he graduated from a really good business school too. Like he's a very smart person and knows. I know what I look like, but I also know what's up here, and that's somebody that can play against that. I think it's a good thing. My
gut. Within a week, he's trying to take over the house and be like the head
honcho.
And yep,
you think he's going to have the ego trip?
Yeah, I think he's going to be like, listen, guys, this is what we got to do. And you know what I mean? He's going to become the head of the snake, and the head of the snake goes home.
So he's going to be the guy that in his interviews was like, I'm going to do this. I'm going to lay low. I'm going to make everybody think I'm just a
he's the alpha.
And then he's going to come in and be like, well, I don't really like what you're doing. Oh, wait. Yeah. You're not the HOH. You're not even on the team that won. What are you talking about, dude?
I can see him
because that guy.
I could see him being like a Devin because Devin was really smart too.
Okay,
but Devin didn't like
Devin
other people telling him what
smart.
to do.
Yeah, but Devin also really liked telling other people what to do.
How smart he was. Yeah, no, he could do well. That's my, I love you, Travis. You haven't stirred me wrong at all, but that was just my initial impression. I think you're smart. You're a super good looking dude, by the way. You got me blown out. And that's why Whitney, and the one thing she said to you was, Travis is a really good looking dude.
Yeah, but she went with the other guy, right?
Yeah, so I think she could do good, and I think he can do good, and clearly Whitney thinks he's good looking, so congrats to that.
Yeah.
And speaking of Whitney,
congrats to that.
Congrats to that, buddy. Yeah. Whitney's up next, actually, 30 years old, Portland, Oregon. She's a makeup artist, and Whitney was one of our winners tonight. What'd you think of Whitney?
I liked Whitney. I think it's tough. I think that she goes in as a single mom of two. I'm pretty sure it was of two. Business owner. She's going to be somebody that's independent and goes in there strong-willed. And I think she said something about showmance. It's like, I don't know. It was hard for me to get a tough feel. I didn't have anything strong about her. I thought it was pretty cool how she won that competition. I thought she did pretty well. But she was one where I was just like, all right.
Yeah, and I think she might be someone who gravitates towards a showmance. She might be someone who goes in there looking for that guy. I mean, she already told Travis first 20 minutes, I think you're cute.
But you know what the good thing about that is smart. She was like, I think you're cute, but I'm going to pick the other guy.
Yeah, complimented both of them.
And then that makes him be like, dude, I don't know. Like, that was kind of, do I want to go for it?
Hey, how you doing? After the camera after the episode ends.
So you said I was good looking, right?
I see her definitely being a girl's guy, like a guy's girl, I should say, where she's like kind of like in with all the boys, and like they love her. And she's super cool girl, like just chill, hanging out, and like she could go really far because of that. Because I don't know if she's gonna make a lot of enemies. Did she have a kid? I can't remember. Was she?
Yeah, she did. I don't know. I couldn't tell if it was one or two because there were two kids.
She definitely had at least one. You're right. She still has definitely has a kid. So single mom in there fighting for something more than herself.
Yep.
Again, how do you not root for that?
Right.
How do you not root for that?
Exactly.
I love it.
Team parent.
Wishing you luck,
now
Whitney.
Team parent.
Yeah, team parent. You're not yet you.
Not
but,
me.
You know.
I'm team. You know.
So
not parent.
your team holding off. Hold it out,
I'm
buddy.
team not parent.
Keep fighting. Keep fighting that fucking
fighting
fight.
the good fight, sir.
The last one we're gonna talk about is definitely not least, and I'm gonna go out and tell you right now, Xavier, 27 years old from Kalamazoo, Michigan, who's an attorney, is my pick to win this year. Boom.
See,
dropped him.
This is the issue. So
the dude is a stud, looking like he's an absolute stud. He's super smart. He's an attorney.
This frustrates me on so many levels because you said it first, and I think you did that on purpose because I mean
we did not talk about this ahead of time.
We didn't, guys. This is the first time we have mentioned this at all because we haven't talked about the cast because we wanted to save it for this.
We didn't say a thing. Yep.
I agree with you.
He's a stud.
Him.
He's a stud.
He was the one. I think he's the guy that the girls are going to want and the guys are going to want to be friends with. He's that dude.
He's an unbelievable athlete.
Yeah.
He's super smart, super good looking. What is he? Let's talk about what he doesn't have.
Right.
I'll tell you his one flaw.
He doesn't have a head of hair.
I'll tell you his one flaw, and if he grew it out, it'd probably be fucking phenomenal too. But here's his one downfall, because I know everyone, and again, this is a little inside. They watch the show before they go in there, so they can short term they can talk Big Brother and look like they know something.
Always.
I have a strong suspicion this guy is not a real Big Brother fan.
Okay.
He might have even been a recruit.
But I'll tell
because
you
he's so perfect. Yeah. He's so perfect.
Rich, but I love his strategy going in. So this is something that I wanted you to touch on. And going in, I was like, okay, when I first read his bio, I was talking about him, and I was like, do you tell people you're a lawyer? Because lawyer is a profession where, a lot of people say the first thing they say, oh, lawyers are liars. No, lawyers find what they think can sway a group of people to their truth. That's manipulate. Like, if that wasn't the definition of manipulation, which is what Big Brother is, and I think this guy can do it. But then I was like, is he going to go in there and tell people what his job is? Because that can make other people immediately have a red flag. Yeah. And for a couple different reasons. Lawyers, one, money. They could be like, oh, he makes money. Does he really need the money? Or it skews people in their decisions to voting at the end. Or it's like they start speculating on his job. And I couldn't wait to hear what your thought process was like, because we never really talked about this. I think it'd be cool for people to hear this because it's a huge decision that you have to make going into the house. Do I tell people my job, or do I hold it from the entire house for the entire time?
Right. And he's making the right decision if he can do it, because he does have a job, like you said, a lot of money, intelligent, and someone who's known to be able to contort or manipulate facts to fit their own agenda.
Right.
And with me as a detective, it was like, I don't want people knowing that I interview and interrogate people for a living, because that's a huge attribute in this game. So I asked myself, what's the benefit of telling them? Zero. Other than to brag, right? Same thing with him being an attorney. Other than bragging about your success and your ability, there's no point to doing it. Later in the game, could I see him being, listen, obviously he's very proud to be an attorney. So I think later in the game, when it doesn't matter as much, maybe he might confide in someone, whether it's a showmance or someone he's close to that's maybe a bro of his in his alliance. But if he can do it, it'd be smart to check your ego at the door and swallow the fact that you're a very successful, great looking guy, and just wait until you get the $500,000 check, because there's no advantage to telling them how smart and successful you are.
Yeah, I like hearing that perspective, because that's a good one to have. I mean, for me, I was going in at 23 and I was like a district manager on a sales team. So I was like, do I hide my job? Well, like, what's there to hide? But I like that. I like that aspect to it, because it brings a level of stress to you in the house, which I can't even imagine what you were like going through that. It's like, is anybody going to find out? No, but do you slip up in something because you're in there no phones, no TVs, only like really, really natural conversations. And sometimes it gets hard not to slip up and talk about your job.
It does.
But you had it down to a T. You literally talked about being a Parks and Rec dude. Like, I don't know. We'd be like talking about it, and you'd be like, I know, dude. So I had this thing that came up when I was at Parks and Rec, and I was like, and after the fact, I was like, what a calculated bastard. But during the time, it's like, it's incredible. It's incredible because you literally.
It's something. Hopefully, he has a game plan.
Yeah.
Hopefully, he has a game plan. I was in Parks and Recreation. Yeah, I had a whole backstory, and that's what if you're gonna do it, you got to do it. So, good luck to him. He's our sleeper to win this. Not even a sleeper. He's the front runner, I think.
Well, I think for us, because we've seen everything on the outside. Not everybody on the inside gets all this information, but I really like him too. I think I would be blown away if he goes home in the first 5
goes home early. Yeah, he's gonna win comps. He's smart, athletic. He's got the complete package. Probably gonna have 2 or 3 girls that wanna get into a little alliance with him.
Lock of lips of alliance.
Maybe.
Who knows?
Maybe.
But I'll tell you what, the thing I like the most about him is how he talked about, like, because athletes like you and I, we both play a sport at a really high level. It's like athletes can get hurt and then not really know what to do. And he like had an injury that ended sports, and look where he was at. Like, he took adversity, and now he's a lawyer. Now he's not Big Brother. I don't know. There was so much to like, just to get behind him and to root for him. That was my biggest thing.
He's gonna be, if he goes home early, I'll be shocked.
Yeah.
But we great cast, diverse cast, a lot of different backgrounds. I would even argue to say that on paper, this is probably one of the smartest casts I've ever seen.
Agreed.
As far as what they've accomplished from the academia standpoint. So a lot of smart people in there. That could be a recipe for a really great season, or it could be a recipe for just absolute chaos, which is still great for us.
Not bad as viewer.
We'll take it either way. But Let's get into the format. We went long on the cast. We're going to get into the format. There's not a ton to go over. These competitions were pretty simple, but we'll run it down quickly. We had basically 4 different groups, kind of similar to your season where they had these different comps to develop in HOH, but you had 4 different groups, and the winners of these 4 different groups were Frenchie, Whitney, Christian, and Claire. And when these 4 individuals won, they broke them up into 4 teams. You had Frenchie's team called the Jokers. You had Whitney's team was the Aces. You have Christian's team, which is the Kings, and Claire's team, which is the Queens. What do you think about this format? What do you think about this little twist?
I think it reminded me a lot of 18. When we watched 18, you had the returners come in, and they were the captains. That's right. And then they saw the competition, they picked their team, then they had to compete, have to win. But they did it more of like, you compete, then you're into the next round. And it was like a last place team lost, which I kind of like this. But it brings a whole nother dynamic to the game, man. I think it's cool. I think it
forces certain people to work together that may not necessarily have worked together.
For a period. Who knows how long they're going to drag it out. I know they didn't drag it out for the entire season on 18. But I think it's cool because it adds another dynamic where it's not necessarily like changing the whole game of Big Brother. It still feels like Big Brother, but it adds a cool dynamic, which I like, because I like to see how the social aspect kind of morphs when there's something else thrown into it. Like ours was the Battle of the Block, and there was a part of the game that had to be changed. It's not like Big Brother was a whole different game, but there was adjustments that had to be made. So I'm really looking forward to how people work through this, how an HOH works through, I'm the ultimate one nominating people, even though I could put it on my team, but I'm the person nominating. So it's really you. Like, you're the captain. So how is that? Like, how can you use that to your advantage, or how is that going to be a disadvantage? I'm really excited. I'm looking forward to it.
What do you think of the competition? It's a little different. Haven't seen something like that before. I haven't.
It was fun. I liked the puzzle aspect with the balance, because it's like it could have went wrong. I think it would have been a little bit cooler. I think they did it because limited time. When you're doing a live show, it becomes very difficult.
Can't have it taken forever.
Exactly. Which I know on 18 they didn't do it as a live show, so it was a lot longer. It was like an all day affair, because you could tell like it was like the sun was up and they were.
But even on your season, after you guys won that initial thing, you guys had like the boards that you had to do. There was multiple groups. Remember for Big Brother 22.
Yeah.
Remember you guys, what was that? It was like 4 different teams, and then you went on to the next round and you competed.
Right, and I was the last team, so I didn't even enter the house yet. But that, it was like an hour, and then the next was 30 minutes. It was a similar time frame, but just different competitions. But I'm looking forward to the team aspect. How would you go into that? knowing like I know how you were going and you were not like heavy on the competitions. How would you go in and play that knowing like, okay, there's a competition now, not really knowing how it turned out, but like, are you still going in and taking those first competitions just saying, I don't want to win these, period?
Yeah, I didn't want to win. I knew that it could be a detriment where if I didn't win the first one, I could go home before I even get my teeth sunk in. But that was just a dice that I decided to roll before I even went in there. Yeah. I was like, hey, listen, if I go home week 1, that's fine. I get out of here. I don't have to go to sequester. I don't have to go into like sequester. But I just am under the belief like it can work out for you. Clearly, it worked out for you. Great. Mm-hmm. I mean, you didn't get nominated the whole season, so clearly it worked out pretty well for you. But you're an anomaly. You're right. Yeah. You're not
you
what usually
did
happens.
The same thing. You didn't win it first week, and you didn't get nominated until nobody nominated you. It was just a competition lost.
But you want to do decent. So like I remember ours was the pit. I was like holding on to the spit and like it was spinning, and I made sure I was like I don't want to be the first person to fall off because then someone's gonna look at me and say I'm not a good ally. Like I can't help them down the road because maybe he could have won it.
Or they say you went off first. It's an easy nomination, and somebody that knows the show like knows stuff like that.
Yeah, I remember saying to myself, I want to hold on. I think the girls fell off first, and then there was me, Zach, Hayden, and Caleb, and I was like, I'm not falling off as the first guy. Mm-hmm. I'll hold on all day if I have to. Right. Because I could have held on longer. I wouldn't have won, but I could have held on longer. Caleb was winning it. But I was like, Zach fell off, and then I was like, perfect. Now it's they'll let them two battle it out because I don't want to be one of the last two and accidentally win. Yeah. Which, again, I'm not saying I would have won, guys. Right. I wouldn't have. But
it could accidentally happen. Like, in a way, because you could be up there, like, in the same...
He could throw it.
Exactly.
He might have the same idea as me. As soon as that person fall off, and now I'm standing up there holding on to a spit.
Exactly.
So, no, it was... I thought it was good. But as far as the teams, so the teams, we won't go through every single thing. So there's these 4 competitions. Ultimately, each of these winners have to pick out their teams. They do them where 2 of the names come up. You have to pick... I like this twist because automatically you're already... getting a little dissension where it's like, oh, he chose him over me, or he chose her over him.
I liked it.
And so just a little bit of, it's not a lot. I don't think a lot of people are going to hold a grudge for it. But if we break down the teams, just so you guys know, we have the Jokers, which is Frenchie, Azza, Brittany, Derrick F. We have Aces, which is Whitney, Brent, Derrick X, Hannah. And when we have Kings, which is Christian, Alyssa, Xavier, and Sarah. And then we have the Queens, which is Claire, Kyland, Tiffany, and Travis. And the way they finished, so you guys know, is Jokers finished first, Queens finished second, Aces finished third, and Kings finished fourth. Why is that important? Because the Kings are the have-nots for the week. Congratulations, guys. You're on Big Brother, and you're have-nots your first week
and
in
it
the
is
house.
The worst. Anybody that's like, oh, my God, I love Big Brother. I want to experience everything, like being a have-not. You don't want to be malnutritioned. You don't know what the sleeping situation is. I say it. We got lucky.
You isolated
16.
that first week.
Yeah, we got lucky on 16 where the situation. Well, I was at one of the first week have-nots, and we didn't get like the cushy bed with the pillows on it. We were sleeping on ice cubes that were rock solid. The All-Star season wasn't that horrible, but you are upstairs. I don't know if the format's going to be the same. From the photos I saw, it looks like it is, where the have-nots are up next to the HOH room.
Yep,
you're
secluded.
Away from everybody. It is not a good thing. You have to, even if you just want to relax, you can't just go and like lay on the bed. Your spot is upstairs. It's not a good thing. It's not a good thing.
No, have not first week is sucks.
It's not a good thing. The only thing that helped me on 16 was I was in the alliance of the 2 people that won HOH. So it became extremely beneficial where I was like, I can relax this week. I'll be a have-not.
Right.
And ours was a better situation than the All-Star season. I made a similar decision when Tyler won the HOH. But I was like, it's Tyler. I'm not going anywhere. I'm going to go sleep upstairs. And we were in the 3rd week. I was like, I could still, I have my relationships and they're forming still. But you don't want to be up there in this first week. It's not a good place to be.
No, not the place you want to start off. But listen, it is what it is, and Frenchie is our HOH for the week, and Frenchie's given an interesting opportunity because, again, Julie's full of surprises, a little bit of a twist, and this is kind of where the show ends, but it's a pretty interesting twist because she comes out and she says, Frenchie, you and your team are safe for the week. However, this is going to be like a gambling season. I think we're going to see a lot of this, which I really like.
I'm so hyped.
Yeah, that double or nothing type stuff. And, hey, listen, if you want to roll these 2 die And if you're able to land them both on the platform within this allotted time,
Yep.
we're going to give you 2 weeks of safety, which is huge.
That's insane.
However, if you mess up and you don't get it on, you just lost the HOH and your team's not safe for the week.
Right.
He decides not to take it. You go first. What do you think of his decision?
So I said this. I was sitting there with Christy, and immediately the first thing that came into my head was, do you strike a deal? Do you turn and try to strike a deal with Claire, saying, I'm going to go for it. If I win it this week, I promise you're safe, and then you get to compete next week. And if I lose it, just you don't nominate me. That was like the first flash that came into my head. Try to make a deal with the team that's going to win.
Right.
Then the next thing was, there's no chance I'm doing it. Like, I'm not doing it. I'm striking the deal. People may be like, uh-oh, that's a gamer. He's trying to game in the first week. I don't know how I'm going to like that. So, like, my thing was, there's a lot on the line. I'm just gonna roll with it. I'm gonna be like, I'm gonna take the first week. I'm gonna let my relationships form in that, and then I'm not taking it because I think it would have showed a lot of people a lot about how that team was gonna play, or specifically how he was gonna play. So I think the passive move in that situation, I think, was the right one.
I completely agree. It was 100% the right move. You just run it down. First and foremost, we talked about how advantageous it is to be HOH the first week, how many things you can build and how those foundations can get you to all the way to the end. Then you talk about Frenchie as, you got to be honest here. He's not the single good-looking guy that's going to be like, hanging out with the cool kids at the pool probably. He knows he's a little different. So he needs that time to kind of build those relationships with these people that he may not necessarily have a lot in common with. And then you think about the aspect that it's like, hey, listen, I already won 2 competitions.
Yep.
If I lose this, I'm already a target. I just smoked these 2 competitions, so I don't want to do it. And you know what I loved about what he did? And it tells you that he's a true gamer and he's studied other people. Instead of him just instantly saying, I'm not going to do it, which he probably felt because it was the right move. You don't do that.
Yeah.
You don't give up safety.
Yeah.
And especially in the first week,
Yeah.
he looked to his team.
Yeah.
He looked to his team and said, what do you guys want to do? When in his head, he ain't going to do it either way.
Yeah.
But he looked to his team and he said, what do you guys want to do? Kind of Derrick Levasseur move, right? Like, what's the group want to do? You know, what do you guys want to do?
Once
and
one person says the thing that I really want, I'm going to be like, yes. Yes.
You know what? Because you said it, I'm going to do it. Because we're a team.
And I didn't make the decision.
But it was great.
You made the decision. So
right. He did make a mistake, though.
What do you think?
What was his mistake?
I don't know.
So Julie, after he decides not to take it,
you can't tell me he just wasn't going to play it, which he goes, well, just
no. I wrote on here, throw the comp.
Oh, you did.
Throw the comp.
Okay.
Throw it. You already won 2 comps. Now you're going to show him that under pressure you can win a third one and you have nothing to win from it? Dude, that dice would have been hitting the wall, for the Big Brother wall. I'm like, oops, I'm sorry. There's nothing to lose. There's nothing to gain and everything to lose other than to say, hey, I'm a badass.
Yeah. Ego.
I'm a badass.
Check the ego at the door. Winning
he lost it for a second there.
So one of the biggest things I wrote down, obviously, played the game with you. You said something to me, I don't know, it resonated. It was win a competition when there's like either a clear-cut target or you are 100% going on the block. And it's like, that's how I was like starting to think about competitions. And that is what he would have been like, all right, well, I already won the HOH. Why am I winning this comp? Why am I trying to win this comp? That's a good
All
point.
he did was show, he can win again. And
That's
again,
a really good point.
Is this going to be the deal breaker for him? No, but there's little moments where people are sitting there just absorbing all this data, trying to figure out every house guest. And they're just sitting there watching you in this 1-minute pressure cooker accomplish it with time to spare.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? That guy's dangerous.
Yeah.
That guy's dangerous because he didn't get nervous.
But that's you going through it. Let's see if there's anybody in there calculating it the same way.
Oh, this guy, Claire was making digital notes in her brain at that moment.
Think?
She's like, this guy's a player. He smoked his he did his rounds really quickly. He came up here, flipped the dice. Again, other people are going to come to the top and make themselves a target. Again, this is a very minor thing, but if Frenchie was here right now, I would say, Frenchie, almost a perfect night for you other than winning a comp that had no significance.
Yeah. I love that perspective that you just brought to that. I think that's an absolutely incredible one. And it's really the right, and it shows people the difference between somebody's head that was working like yours in there and maybe something that causes other people to like slip up a little bit. Because there are little things that, hey, you may have said this and it may end up not being a factor at all. but it also could. And it's like in that first week, you just don't know. You don't know.
You don't.
And I think
don't
that
only
was,
do what you got to do.
I got to tell you, I think that point was pretty dope. I almost was
it was one thing. Right there. Hey, buddy, you won All-Stars. I'm just learning. I'm just following your footsteps. What? Any final thoughts? I mean, we kind of covered everything. Cast the kind of the competition this week. Who's in charge right now? Yeah. As we stand, Frenchie's HOH. His 3 members, which are Azza, Brittany, and Derrick F. Congratulations to you guys. You are not going home this week,
which is so that's huge. Feat. I feel like that's the thing that has always gotten said. Like, I don't know if your friend said it to you, but I know when I went both times. Hey, and you said it to me too. But the first time it was, you better not go home in the first week. You better not go home in the first week.
Yeah, no, don't come home if you go home the first week.
So I think it is a big congratulations to everybody that is getting through that first week.
That's a major accomplishment.
A lot of time now to form relationships. But the thing that I will say that I don't like, that I don't know if it's going to be the same, but it's the same as All-Stars, is it looks like they're going to be going on schedule with an eviction in week 1. And that is something that we didn't have in 16 that I hated having in All-Stars. We had 14 days before our first eviction.
Right.
So a nomination, we know how the weeks schedule out, and they said it. Nominations are going to be shown on Sunday. So he's got to nominate somebody tomorrow or the next day. Not fun. Not fun at all.
And that is, you know, we're going to get into it more as the weeks go on, but that's the blessing and the curse with HOH, because regardless, this is why I didn't like winning HOH unless I knew there was a clear-cut target, like you said, because you're going to make 2 people mad at you, and one of them is guaranteed to stay unless it's a double eviction. Yeah. And most of the time it's not. So I never liked getting that blood on my hand. Yeah, could make 3 enemies. Yeah.
It is.
Yep. And if they win a veto,
it's crazy, dude.
It's ugly.
It's crazy.
So this is a bad week. This is a tough week to come out of. You were able to do it. But a lot of people have fallen victim to not being first HOH and not doing it.
It is the truth. And it's when you take that first HOH and you treat it like, oh, I'm the man, I'm all powerful, I'm the one running the house this week, and don't take it as thank goodness I'm safe. I need to build my relationships around keeping me safe into the second and third week, and not I don't get to compete next week. So if you take that first HOH, or honestly, it's any HOH. You treat any HOH like it's I'm in the power seat, I'm the man, or I'm the woman, I'm doing this, I'm going to get the job done. You're listening to me. You're going to be going home next or the following. It's not
absolutely.
You got to treat HOH like it's a blessing with a short life to it.
Absolutely. No, it's going to be interesting to see. I'm looking forward to getting the feeds and checking it out and seeing how things develop, because again, as we said, guys, we're going to be covering it at the end of each week on that Thursday night. This is a Thursday night right now we're recording, but we're obviously not only going to dive into the live eviction, we'll probably touch on some things that put things in context for what happened at the live eviction, right? So, because we're not doing a weekly show, but listen, there's a lot of fun. I think we accomplished a lot. Learning curve, but I think we nailed it pretty good.
Yeah,
right?
Man, this was a lot of fun. Guys, we're going to be putting this out every single Friday. It's going to be on all podcast platforms, and then we're going to be putting a video version out on YouTube. So be sure to look up the Winner's Circle on YouTube and follow on Instagram at Winner's Circle Cast. I'm really excited because this is what you and I do instead of an hour phone call. Or an hour and a half phone call. We're literally
like
just
a FaceTime.
Yeah, or FaceTime.
We're just recording.
And now you guys get to get inside of these like intimate conversations that we really have. Like, listen, guys, we're going to be unfiltered. We're not going to hold anything back. And if somebody does something that we think is stupid, we're going to say it. And if if somebody does something that's incredible, we're going to say it. And I just want to say it up front. It has nothing to do with the cast personally. If somebody does something we don't think is smart, it's a game.
They're gamers now to us. They're chess pieces.
This is a game. So now we're going to analyze everything the way that he obviously did successfully on 16 and I did successfully on 22. So just make sure you take everything with that in mind.
Yeah, the best thing you guys can do is, if you're not already subscribed or you're looking for the other links, is go to our Instagram. Like you said, it's Winners Circle Cast, C-A-S-T. There wasn't a lot of names. That's why we went with that. But we did add a link tree in the bio of that page.
Or we just let that go.
I mean, he did initially name it. We want to say it? Go ahead.
You can say it. It was funny.
Winner Circles. He's like, hey, it's available. Winner Circles available. And then I looked at it. I'm like, dude, you put Winner Circles.
I think everybody understands I'm not a great speller.
but go to the Instagram, which is now correct. Winners Circle Cast. Right? Check it out. On Instagram, in the bio, there's a link. It has a link tree connection to it. It'll bring you directly to the Apple Podcast link, to the Spotify link, or to the YouTube page. And what we would ask is, as you guys are watching these episodes or listening to them, if you're listening to them, go to our IG. If you're watching them on YouTube, comment below. Throw some questions at us. If we have time or there's something that comes up, you might bring something up to us that we didn't think of that we want to discuss. So we will be including some of your guys' questions in the week-to-week discussion. So we want to hear from you. We want your feedback, positive or negative. We want your questions, and we might not be able to get to all of them, but we definitely want to involve you guys as much as we can, because you're part of the winner circle with us.
Yeah, we appreciate everybody that clicks, subscribes, downloads anything that we're putting out there. And also, I'm going to follow up on what Derrick said. Don't be afraid to have a difference of opinion. If you're like, hey, I think you're an idiot, say it respectfully, and we're going to be okay with it. But I'm cool with it.
I think we got tough skin over these years with all the stuff that we've heard for sure. But we're looking forward to it. Big Brother's supposed to be fun. It's supposed to be a time where we all come together and all get around and root for our favorites and root against the people that we may not like, but in a respectful way. And again, it's one of the best shows I've ever seen. We had the opportunity to play it. There's a lot of passionate people about this game, and we want to share that with you. So we're looking forward to each week. We will see you next Friday, same time. Check us out. We appreciate you guys tuning in. We'll see you next week.